This episode of Speak Now, Hold Your Peace is brought to you in part by Green Sister Botanicals, plant-based hair and body care. Visit greensister.com for your hair and body care needs.
She's good. She's good.
Shooting, people are saying, we need more gun control.
That's just human nature.
Welcome to Speak Now, Hold Your Peace, a live broadcast with real conversations about community social issues, politics, business, health, self-care, and more. We broadcast live on the Speak Now, Hold Your Peace Facebook group and the Speak Now, Hold Your Peace YouTube channel. And now, here's your host, Say What I Feel, Dre.
Welcome to Speak Now, Hold Your Peace. I'm Say What I Feel, Dre, and today we got a good show for you today. It's going to be something that's going to help the community in some way or help somebody tonight, especially if you are in a domestic violence relationship. I have three powerful, strong women. Let me first tell you this. Black women are the strongest people on earth. All y'all watching? Black women are the most strongest people on earth. That's what I wanted to say. But I got three powerful women right here today, and they are willing to share their story. So that's definitely a blessing that they're sharing their stories, because a lot of people can't do that. So I want to welcome all of you. I first want to welcome Raven Marie. Raven, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How's everyone?
All right. That's all right. Candace Rose B up in the building. What's up? How you doing?
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's a blessing to have you on here. Definitely a blessing. And then I got China representing. And Jay, what's up? China, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good.
Yeah, so China. You know what, China? I forgot to tell you something while we was off air. I know you can spit some bars too. I know you. You got a little something. So that's another show we're gonna come back and do for real. Got to do that. Got to do it. So ladies, thank you, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. I'm gonna talk about domestic violence. This I don't even know where to start. I really don't. But it's just that's something deep. That's just deep, and I don't even know where to start. But I will start by asking each one of you. How long were you in a domestic violence relationship? I'm gonna start with you, Raven.
For me, it was the shortest but longest 5 months of my life. That's the entire duration of the relationship from when we entered it into when I left.
Wow.
5 months.
Okay. Candace?
Mine was a little bit over a year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it was a little bit over a year. I was probably like in my early 20s.
Okay. All right. China?
Mine was for about 7 months. This was in 2019.
Okay. So the longest was a year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies, and you could chime in. Did y'all see any signs when you first, everybody says they see the signs, but I just want to ask, did you see any signs of that this person was who they were?
Any signs of this person? Well, you know what? Yes.
Because it starts out so sweet, all that stuff. But
I feel like I knew my red flag. My red flag was my bait, to be honest. He just was like weird things that I'm typically turned off by, like very flashy with money, always wanting to hang around, be around me. It was very like as I learned, as they say, love bombing. So, but even how I met him, I got every feeling like don't even waste your time, sis. Don't even approach that one. And I was like, no, it was right. Just if you feel it, you notice it. It was just little things. I'm like, no.
Right.
So very, very early on.
Okay. What about you, Candace?
I did not see any red flags at all because he was very quiet. He was super, super quiet. So I never got any red flags. Even like in the beginning of our relationship, I didn't get any red flags at all. But the one thing that I did get, I heard a lot of rumors.
Okay.
But I just never thought that this quiet person, this shy, quiet person, was like this. So no, I didn't get red flags. I just heard rumors.
Right. Right. China.
Mhm. For me, I saw the red flags, but at the time, I didn't notice that they were red flags, and I didn't know, um, what it meant. But now that I saw those red flags, now if I try to date someone and I see those same flags, now I know what to expect if I continue to deal with that person. But like I said, in that moment, I didn't know that it was because of that. I didn't know those red flags would lead up to that situation.
Okay. Yeah. So
So yeah.
you're in the relationship, everything's fine. You ladies are in the relationship. And then comes that first time. That first time you're abused. China, what was going through your mind?
Honestly, my mind was like a blank slate,
Mm,
because I had never been in a situation like that. I wasn't used to that because yeah, I wasn't raised in that type of environment. It wasn't something I saw my parents go through. Like the way my parents are, my mom respects. I mean, my stepdad respects my mom a lot. He doesn't even raise his voice at her. Like they have a very loving relationship. So then when I saw that, it kind of threw me off. And I was like, I don't know, should I call the police? But then again, I don't want him to get locked up because I would feel bad. Yeah, my mind was literally it was blank, honestly.
wow, wow. That's something too. Like I think sometimes
Mhm.
um people, we get in shock when things happen, and it goes day. Sometimes it goes days. It may go hours. It may go for a split second. Um,
Mm.
I can
Mhm.
remember one time I was I don't want to go into that story because that's the old me. But I was out on the block, and something happened. Some guy came up to me. I'm like, you got a lot of nerve to roll up on this block in this hood, doing this. Like, and then when he did it, I was just like, couldn't believe it. I mean, he got rolled. Look, I shouldn't say this. Never mind. But the situation got taken care of. But if I could do it over, the new me would have been like, all right, chill. Walk away, take the high road. But I took the elevator down. But the point is, I was in shock, right? So, I get it. Like, you may have not gotten it like right away. Candace, what
Yeah, I
was
didn't
going?
register that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to tell you, like some days, you just be like, oh, I know he ain't hit me. Like, it's just and things,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Or they'll say something and you like, am I tripping? Or did they just say, no,
yeah,
I'm not.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
Yeah.
no.
yeah. It
Yep.
go, yeah, it does. It goes the same way with people when they say when stuff come out their mouth too. It's just like, wow, did he really say that? So
Right.
the after factor, the shock factor is a killer. Candace, how long? What was up with you? What was your thoughts when you first got abused?
I was shocked. Yeah, I was really, really shocked because I had boyfriends before. My boyfriends never put their hands on me, and I was just shocked. Like I know this, just, like y'all said, like I know this just did not happen.
Mm,
So it was more of the shock factor for me.
okay, okay. Raven, what about you?
I think when it first kicked in for me, it was a situation I was so over the top that I couldn't ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
But then immediately it turned into like if you try to leave me, I'm coming after all your family and friends, and this is what I got
Wow.
to show you. I got weapons, I got people out here, like I got a lot to show you why you should be scared. But I
Wow.
feel like I got my warning like heavy and very, very, very fast. Before that, it was a just a ton of gaslighting that I thought. I'm a Pisces. I be, my feelings. I'm a little emotional. So a lot of times I was like, oh, you tripping, or he from New York, they from Brooklyn, they just speak that way. It's all me. It's not him.
Right.
But oh, I got that wild awakening that I literally could not ignore. But like I said, I felt like I was so scared that I'm like, well, shoot, I don't even know what to do.
Right. Right. Did you? Did any of you feel I'm gonna just go a little bit fast forward and then I'm gonna bring it back. Um when you decided to leave, or you hit that last straw that you thought was the last straw and you went back to him, um what made you go back to him? And any of you can answer that.
I'll just say fear, like real life fear,
Yeah.
fear of what he might do to somebody else, my friends, my family, and not wanting to feel like I was the cause. I felt like I had enough of control over the beast, as they say. I was able to tame the beast for long enough to where I felt like, oh, just one more day and work on your escape plan. One more evening and work on your way out. But whatever you do, just try to keep him entertained, try to keep on his good side so that he wouldn't go and do something to someone that was, close to me.
Right, right. So I'm guessing, and I ask that because I get different answers when I do the research. Some people say it was fear that they were going to hurt their family, and then some say it was because I felt like I can change them, and that's common. Like you get
That
this.
too.
You
Yeah,
know,
that too.
there's a lot of women who will sit here and watch this show and be like, "Well, you should have left them the first time." I've never been in a domestic violence relationship, but I do know that there are circumstances that nobody will know unless if you're in that position. So I'm never like you should have just left, because it may not have been that easy. For some people, it may be, but there's issues, like there's circumstances, like somebody could live with them, and you may not have no place to go afterwards. You might have moved to somewhere in Idaho where everybody wears sandals and black socks up to the knee, you know what I'm saying? And you ain't home, home is home, but it's just like, there's circumstances that will keep you there. Was there any circumstances for any of you to stay? Like, was it something that did you feel that you wouldn't be like yourself, or you would be like financially hurt if you left? Or just,
For me, no.
no? Okay.
Mm-mm. No. I
For me, I felt bad. Oh,
Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I was so young at the time. Like I was so young that there was nothing keeping me there. Like he wasn't taking care of me or anything. I was still living with family at the time. So I stayed just off of fear and thinking I can change him. Like maybe if I just stay, do what he says, do what he wants, and just try to be meek, quiet, and and just do what he says, then maybe he will see a softer side and maybe he will become soft. But that didn't happen.
Right, right. China, what about you?
For me in the beginning, it was also okay. First off, I used to think that a long time ago too, before I got into a domestic situation. Oh, why not leave after you got hit the first time? But then once you're in that situation, you realize it's a mental thing.
Mhm.
So technically, I could have left. I could have, filed a restraining order. I could have gotten you arrested. I could have did a ton of things, but it's a mental thing. So mentally, I felt weak because first they start off by trying to dehumanize you. They try to degrade you. They ruin your self esteem, and then you just feel like you can't get any better than that. That's what it is. It's all a mental thing. So once you start to love yourself and get out of that, you'll be able to break out of that situation without a problem. But it definitely took me a while to get out of that. And like you said, first it started off with fear, because I would tell him to leave. I didn't want to be with him anymore because he's abusive. He would come to my house in the middle of the night. He would kick the door in. It was a lot of stuff. Like he wouldn't leave me alone, and I was kind of afraid to tell my parents because first of all, I didn't know how to say that to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how my parents are. They would have came. It would have been some drama. And they would have shut it down. And they definitely would have called the police and had him arrested and everything. And I kind of felt bad because I'm like, dang, he was in and out of jail his entire life. He didn't have any friends. He didn't have anyone. So then, like I said, it started from fear. Then it started from me feeling bad for him. And then it got to a point where it's like, damn, my self esteem is like in the basement right now. Like I was broken. And then finally, I just got up and told my mom, and I got out of that situation.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad you got
It's like
out.
a wave of emotions. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In
Hmm.
terms, I know Raven, you mentioned it, the gaslighting. Like, and for those who don't know, it's pretty much trying to shift the blame to make it seem like it's the abuser's fault.
Hmm.
You know how y'all do when when you late. Some of these people late. You're talking about my viewers. You know when y'all late for something, y'all be like, the bus wasn't running. But that's what I mean by that. Like it's kind of like shifting blame. Like
Hmm.
now, did you ladies experience that? In addition to the low like demeaning you, trying to make you have low self esteem, did you experience that also?
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of what the exact what he said to me exactly, but I'll share a story with y'all how I really got my wake up call, but even my wake up call wasn't enough. Like I said, I couldn't ignore it at the time, but I'm gonna tell you the situation that happened. So my ex-boyfriend actually kidnapped me on one occasion. We're fine. We were fine. This is like I think we started dating in August. This might have been October by the time this happened. We were good, but then we got into an argument, and he was yelling so closely just at my face that spit was flying, and it just triggered me, and I did something I've never done, and I actually spit at him, and that's like no, that's not even my character, but it worked me up so badly, like it just flew out. And so when the whole fight broke out, he put the child locks on and drove me around for hours, and I had no idea where I was at, where I was going, or anything. And eventually he let me out of the grocery store. I was able to get out. But even in that situation, he's still calling me afterwards, blowing me up. And then that's when the threats came, like from my friends and family and whatnot, pulling up people's addresses, sending them to me. But basically in that situation, I'm like, yo, what's good? Like, have you lost it? And he's like, well, you shouldn't have did whatever it was. It wasn't even a spitting. It was like, well, you shouldn't have picked an argument with me. It was something like
Hmm.
that. And I'm like, what?
Wow. Wow. Candace,
So yeah, the gaslighting runs deep.
yeah, Candace, you shaking your head. You experienced the same thing?
Yes, absolutely. And it's crazy because every time like that me and him would have an altercation, he would always flip the blame on me. Well, you should have did this. You know that I have a temper, so why did you do this? Like why did I do what? Just
Mhm.
breathe? Like why didn't I move fast enough for you? I just didn't understand. I didn't understand why person was he was always angry with me when I gave him so much, and that's what I just did. I just didn't understand it.
Wow. Wow. What about you, China?
Yes, all the time. In the beginning, no, super sweet. That's another red flag I noticed too. When we first started dating, it was like, oh, I can't wait to marry you and like start this future. Like he was just like planning
Mhm.
things way too soon. Now I know that's a red flag too. You don't even know me. How you know? How do you know you want to marry me? Like,
Right. Right.
just being too dramatic. So yeah. But yeah, he was always gaslighting. Like let's say he would try to take my car, I would say no. One, he didn't have a license. And aside from that, whether you have a license or not, this is my vehicle that I pay for. If I don't want you to drive it, you don't have to drive it, like
Right.
he would take my
Damn.
car anyway, and then speed off. I remember one time he was racing in my car and he popped the axle came out. I had to pay for it to come out of the tow yard. I had to pay for
Mm.
the axle to get fixed. And then he would come home and be like, well, if you would have just let me, I remember that he came home. He was like, if you would have just let me drive the car, maybe I wouldn't have been so mad and I wouldn't have been racing, popped the axle out. What? Like, you
Wow.
see, like, how can you put that on me? Like, I told you not to take my car. And it's not like I
Crazy.
said it in a rude way because, yeah, because I'm not even like an aggressive person. So I was just like, no, I don't feel comfortable with you driving my car. If something goes wrong, you're not working right now. You cannot afford to fix it. And
Right.
I shouldn't
Right.
have even had to explain that because it's my belonging, it's mine. I don't have to explain
Mhm.
anything.
Right.
So
Right. Let me ask you ladies this. And I do know, like, I've seen, not seen it, but I've known some women to be abused. And I mean, for a long period of time. And one of the things I've noticed that happens is they used to be hanging out with their friends and now they don't. they come over to their mom's and dad's house, you know, whatever, Sunday dinner, whatever it may be, that starts to stop. And then all of a sudden, you don't even know who your friends are anymore because you don't see them. Have any of you ladies like isolated yourself, or not purposely isolate yourself, but did he actually try to get you to, you know, stay away from your friends, or convince you that they weren't no good, or he didn't want you to be with them or anything like that?
Yes,
Yes,
all the time.
definitely.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I lost the earbud.
Mm.
He definitely did. My case, a lot of my friends are people that I worked freelancing with hair and makeup, or if it was at the spa that I was working at the time. So because a majority of people came from the spa, I go to work, you know, see him every day. So he really couldn't keep me away from them. And they're gonna be like, "Girl, why aren't you answer the phone? Like, what's good?" And I got to a point where I was very transparent. I'm like, "Yo, this is happening at home." So then they would like take me home and stay the night with here and there, invite me to their place, things like that. But he definitely tried to keep me away. All of my cousins were my ex-boyfriends all of a sudden. Like, I just, like, male cousins don't exist. Things of
Wow.
that nature. So yeah, he tried. He really tried.
Wow. Same for you, Candace?
I was actually isolated from my friends and family for months. I was
Wow.
so isolated from them. And then he always had a problem with my friends. I just didn't understand why he didn't like none of my friends whatsoever. But it was like when we were friends, you loved them.
Mm-hmm.
But and then my friends started to notice, and even my friends' parents started to notice, like, girl, you ain't coming around no more. You losing too much weight. You let yourself go. Cause I'm a makeup artist too, so I wasn't wearing makeup anymore. My hair was always standing on top of my head, and I just kept myself
Mm.
locked in my apartment.
Wow.
So he definitely succeeded with that. And at the time, I was living with my mother, and then I moved from my mother's house to my aunt's house, which was right around the corner. And then I did end up getting my own place. And that's when I got my own place, that's when he like, okay, we by ourselves now, so I can really do what I want to do to
Mm.
you.
Wow. Wow. What about you, China? Same deal?
Same.
Wow. Wow. That's something.
Yeah, always trying to keep my family. Even my mom started to notice because I'm a mama's girl. That's literally my best friend. So we do everything together. I tell her everything. I talk to my mother every day. I moved back home now because it got to a point where I didn't feel safe at all. He kept coming back. He wouldn't even leave. When I last left, he took my keys and wouldn't let me get back into the house. So I remember I just called the leasing place and I told them what happened and they understood and they removed him. And I just came on a day he wasn't there because he's always posting on social media. Me and my parents, we came and moved all my stuff out.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, but yeah, it was like that. He wouldn't leave me alone. So I moved back home. This is my safe space with my parents. None of that slides over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, Candace, when he realized that we were alone, that's when they do the most. Some will still abuse you in front of others, but for the most part, when they know you're alone, that's why they go so hard trying to isolate you too. They don't want your good friends around. They don't want you around, your support system, because it's easier to
Mhm.
isolate you and then mentally break you down and then continue to abuse you. He ran a few of my friends off. But I had maybe like two good friends. They're my best friends still to this day. They noticed him and they will always call him out, and they were not playing with him, and he hated them the most. But
Wow.
they could tell before I even told them. They knew he was very abusive, and that's why he didn't want them around me, because they will always tell me what was good for me. So yeah, isolation
Wow.
is their
Um,
what they do. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping, and I really am hoping that that somebody is watching this, I'll take 5 people watching this live, who are being abused, as opposed to 60,000 people who are not even experiencing it, because it's for me, it's not about how many people is watching, it's about who is going to help. So with that said, I think some, people who are going through this, women and men who are going through this, they need to know the seriousness of it. Now, I know with that being said, if you ladies are comfortable with talking about the actual your abuse, I know one of you were, did one of you got shot? Which one was it? Which one of
It was
you?
me.
It was Candace. Okay, so
Yeah.
he shot you. Can you explain? Can you explain that? How that went down?
So yeah, so we were not in a relationship anymore, but we were still dealing with each other. And I had actually met someone else, and the guy that I met, I was in two abusive relationships, and the guy that I met years down the road when we started dating, he became abusive to me as well. But that's another story.
Hmm.
So we were in the car just talking in front of my mother's house, and I saw somebody in all black walk from across the street into some bushes. So I didn't think nothing of it because I had younger neighbors that lived across the street from me. So I thought it was theirs walking across the street. I get out the car, hug my friend, told him, goodbye, whatever. I hear somebody call my name from the bushes. So I'm like, this don't sound right. This kid don't know me like that. He knows my mother, but he don't know me. So I told my husband to walk me outside, and he walked me outside. And when I was pulling off, this happened on Christmas Eve of 2008. And when I'm pulling off, this person who walked across the street into my bushes just came and started shooting at my car and
Hmm.
ended up shooting me right. But by the grace of God, I cannot stand my mother's ex-husband now. But by the grace of God, he threw his shot off. He threw off his aim because he yelled his name and he started chasing them. But he
Hmm.
ended up shooting me in the leg, shot out my back tire, and I still was able to drive. But God, because I was still able to drive myself full speed to the hospital.
Wow.
And but yeah, so he shot me. He shot me because I
Wow.
wanted to be completely done with him.
Wow. Do you still have like the effects of you being shot? Has it permanently damaged any your functioning or anything at all?
Yes, it did. It took out a big chunk of my femur bone, so my leg tends to swell up if I'm on my feet too long. So I do wear like compression stockings for that. But actually, the bullet was 3 inches away from my kneecap.
Oh
And the
wow.
doctor said if it would have shattered my kneecap, they would have had to amputate my leg. So that whole situation was nobody but God. Like that was God the whole time. But it just took out a big chunk of my femur bone. I can still walk. Like I said, my leg swells up, but that's about it. That's
Wow.
it.
Wow. What about you,
Mm-hmm.
Raven?
Oh, child. Okay, so when my final straw with my ex, so I was actually supposed to do. I'll never forget, obviously, but okay. So there was the night of like January 31st. This is last year, 2020. Like the night January 31st. I'm at my crib. I'm talking to my neighbor, and I'm like, I'm really done. Like the 2 days before he punched me, like all in my head. I had a concussion, this scarring on my shoulder. I don't know if y'all can see it, but like, this is from like us fighting in the car. I got teeth marks on my hands, on my feet, on my legs. Like he attacked me. Like when I got to the ER, they thought a pit bull jumped on me. Like I was walking
Oh
and like
my
a dog
God.
attacked me. He bit me up like crazy. And so after that, I'm good. I'm trying to move out his stuff. My neighbor's helping me, but I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid because I'm like, he know the security code to get in, and like he's a big dude. He can knock this door down. I'm paranoid. So I'm trying to move like low key. Now, some told me my homie's house. Some told me I was like, no, you good. Just try to sleep one night here. I was supposed to do a job in the morning. Actually, I was supposed to do Usher Raymond's ex-wife. She had a magazine cover, and I was supposed to do her hair. So I had all my bags and stuff packed, waiting by the door, just so I could get up, do that. And my plan was to leave. Plan was to abandon everything. I was going to take that job, get the money, put it on my little. I had a prepaid debit card, no bank account. I was gonna put the money on my card, get a rental. Like it was a whole thing. I'm like, I gotta get out of here because it's getting really real. Yo, about 5 o'clock in the morning, like now February 1st, I hear just like I don't even, it's somebody at my door. and I'm keeping everything is like locked down in the house to look like nobody's there, but I was there. And so I eventually hear like him in the house. He got in through the window. We had a
Hmm.
broken window that our landlord never fixed and she knew about. But he got in through that window, and I honestly had nowhere to run to go. The apartment ain't that big. I mean, I jumped out the window. And so when I jumped, I thought I was gonna land on my feet and like, I could keep going. I didn't think it was that high up. But now looking back and after getting the measurements, it was about a 15-foot drop. And I
Hmm.
did land on my landed so hard that I toppled onto my back.
Wow.
And so I broke my back, like cracked a
Hmm.
big part of my spine. I fractured my foot, my right foot, and my left foot has such severe nerve damage. Like, you know how a foot can rotate, it'll move. My left foot doesn't. It does
Oh my
a
God.
little bit. So now I go to physical therapy like 2 times a
Hmm.
week. I've been going since April of last year. But when I moved here, I was in a wheelchair and used a walker, and I had to like TMI that I had to use the bathroom in a jug. Like I could not take care of myself at all. But now I'm like functioning. I can move. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Right.
able to live a fair life, but I definitely still do go to physical therapy to try to correct these issues as best as possible.
Well, that's a
Oh my
blessing. Thank
God.
God that you are, you're alive, and that's definitely a blessing. I'm glad that you lady
Yes,
survived
thank
that.
you.
China, what was your last straw?
For me, my last straw, I forgot the exact July. What was it? July 2019. July 2019. I remember I was kind of over it anyway, and I was
Hmm.
also trying to come up with an exit plan, but I wasn't quite sure what to do. So I remember I think we were just watching TV or something, and then off. I remember that. I went through his phone and I saw that because the message popped up. I went through his phone and long story short, I saw that he was sleeping with his best friend. So it's like you're putting me through all of this and you're cheating. Like that's just too much. Yeah. And
It'd be the
and then I
nerve. It'd
started
be the
finding out
nerve.
other things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He was sleeping with his best friend, another girl he was messing with because there was a problem months prior. My cousin's boyfriend found out that he was cheating on me with some girl. And I didn't want to believe it. I'm like, no, he's not. Like all of this, you gonna do that too? So I didn't want to believe it. Nobody wants to believe they're being cheated on. But I ended up that was true. He's actually married to that woman now.
Oh
Oh my
Yeah.
wow.
So
God.
yeah, I found
Wow.
that out. Yep. Yeah,
Ugh.
so I found all of that out as well. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out an exit plan, and I felt bad because he lived with me. I had my own place. I was paying all the rent and I was taking care of him because no, all his family shut him out because they say he was such this nice person. I don't know why they decided to lie that way, but eventually they was like, now you see why we don't hang out with him that much. He's a mess. And I was like,
Wow.
oh wow, I had to find out the hard way though, right?
Like y'all could have
But yeah,
told
he had
me.
no one. Right. Give me a heads up. But
Yeah, tell
um
me something.
yeah, I just kind of felt
Something
bad.
like
Yeah, I felt bad. So I found the exit plan and then I told you I found out he was cheating. So that was the last straw. And then I confronted him about cheating. He decided to gaslight me, made it seem like it was my fault. And I forgot what the argument stemmed from, but I remember the argument got heated because he was everything like, how are you cheating and you're mad? But anyways, long story short, he put his hands on me. And he took my keys from me. I remember that. I didn't care about anything in that apartment. I left everything in my apartment. I grabbed my dog, my little Shih Tzu, my baby. I grabbed my dog and I left. And I remember that I called my mom. That happened over that course of a few months, and I told her, and she was like, get away from there. She was like, get far away from there. And she was like, I'm at work. She was like, I don't want you to be there for that long, so call yourself an Uber. If you need money, let me know. I was like, I have Uber money. So she told me to call myself an Uber. I got out of there. I remember I dropped my dog to my parents' house, and then probably like 2 days later, we picked up everything from my apartment.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Let me ask you ladies this, and thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's something that was deep. How'd y'all sleep
Yeah.
at night after all of it was over? Like in terms of like when you were totally out of the relationship, how how'd you sleep at night? Like the first month or whatever it may be. How'd y'all sleep at night? Were you
Well,
comfortable?
for me, after the shooting, I didn't even know who did it. So, um, so it was very hard for me to sleep at night. Like I lived in fear for months, and at the college student, but we were on Christmas break at that time. So it was really hard for me to sleep. I did not go outside for months because I was so scared. And then a friend of mine told me that it was him that actually did it, and I really couldn't sleep because he knew where I lived.
Right.
Because I was just like, my mom's house was like the most sacred place.
Mm-hmm.
He was scared of my mom and my stepdad, but I just felt like if you can shoot me right there, I felt like he was gonna come in that house while we were sleeping.
Wow.
So it was hard for me to
Wow.
sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, China?
Um, I couldn't sleep either. And when I first moved, I remember he kept calling my phone. Honestly, when I first moved back home, I would still answer the phone for him occasionally. I would still answer the phone still in that like I could not mentally break away from him, even though
Mm-hmm.
I had physically gotten away from him. I would answer the phone. I remember he would call me all times of the night. Even when he wasn't calling me, I couldn't sleep. I had a lot on my mind. I was overwhelmed. You can even tell on my
Mm-mm.
face. I just looked tired, and I had PTSD for time. I still have it occasionally, like if someone's playing or if someone moves too suddenly, I like jump. And then even I remember I was at Target maybe like a few days after I left. Someone had like the same slides as him, and I thought it was him. I got
Wow.
so like scared, like I was
Oh
terrified.
my
Like it
gosh.
was it was intense, and I would be scared. And I'm like, will he like walk my dog? And I'm like, is he gonna pop up in my parents' house? Because he's that type of person. Like wait on the side because he's scared of my parents. But if he catches me outside alone,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's that type of person. So I was like
Man.
scared to walk my dog. I would want to stay in front of the house. Like, I honestly was terrified. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think straight. And yeah, I was freaked out. I definitely it
Wow.
was
What?
hard. It took me months
Mm,
before I got my sleeping pattern back.
that's crazy. Wow. What about you, Raven?
So with
Okay, she got disconnected. We're gonna bring her back in, and we'll hear her story when she logs back in. Let me ask you this while we wait, ladies. Did any of you did either one of you feel did you feel like you can change them? Like at one point, did you feel like, you know what, I can change this? Did you feel that
Yeah.
way? Yeah.
I did. I felt like that I can change him because he came from a broken home. His father used to abuse his mom, and I'm like, well, it's obvious that he's really not getting a whole lot of love. So if I just love on him harder, maybe I can change him, and I can stop him. I would try to talk to him. Like, I will try to tell him, like, you don't have to be so combative and violent. If you have an issue with me, you can talk to me. Like, you'll
Mm-hmm.
get better results if you talk to me instead of putting your hands on me. But that just never worked. It always escalated. The
Wow.
talking always escalated to something more.
Mm. Wow. What about you, China? You ever felt you could change them?
Yeah, I definitely did. All the time, and that's kind of why I stayed too. Um, because like you said, I was like, he came from a broken home. I remember he would like tell me stories about how his mom was abused and stuff like that by the men she would date. So I viewed it as, he thinks that's acceptable. Um, and like the area we were in, because my first apartment, I was in hood.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I was able to afford. So like a lot of my and that's where we're from. Like we used to live in Irvington.
Okay.
Then me and my parents, we finally moved to Union. But in Irvington, like all of my friends, all right, my close friends, the good ones, they didn't play that. But my other friends, they found that to be normal. Like, oh yeah, girl, my boyfriend be hitting me too. So what? Like it's normal over there, literally.
Right.
Even his
Wow.
mom, I remember. Yeah, I talked to his mom too, and she was like, oh, he just be mad sometimes. It's okay, baby. Like that's normal for them. That's not normal for me in my household. That's not okay. Even a man cursing at you, unacceptable. But everyone found that normal. So I'm like, okay, let me just try to change his mindset. If that's what you've grown up around, of course, it's kind of like you're poisoned with that mindset. So I would try to change him and show him, how to be respectful. And that's when I learned that when someone shows you their true colors, you can't try to repaint them because that's when you're hurting yourself. Now
Right.
at this point, I'm hurting myself.
Right. Right.
So
So, Raven, before we went off, you were answering a question. I forgot the question I asked. Was it about you
I
sleeping?
remember. I remember.
Okay.
So, yo, he actually got me this laptop, and I'm convinced that this laptop has bad juju because every time I'm trying to do a live or something, this computer cuts off. It's always something when I'm working. I promise you.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, I swear it got bad juju. Like, anyhow, but you were saying so with me, I was living in Los Angeles, and all my family is here in Omaha, Nebraska. So with the pandemic and just with the, wasn't able to take care of myself. I spent over a month in the hospital. When I got back, when I was in the hospital, I I felt at peace, and I felt like he might try to fake, as a visitor and try to pop in on me. So because of that, they were really, really strict on my visitors. Like it was crazy. Like security had to like escort people in and like, is this who was, is this who they say they are? It was nuts. But now that I'm back, honestly, I got diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety yesterday. Although I'm here with family, I'm very much unsettled. I am not comfortable. It's not even just the fact and stuff of my ex, but we have a neighbor who's very odd and does strange things, and he made that tapping sound outside of my window recently to just try to torment me. So my
Hmm.
spirit is very much unsettled, and I live in just
Oh
constant
my god.
paranoia, to be honest.
Right. Right.
Oh
Wow.
my
Wow. And I'm
gosh.
so sorry to hear that. I'm definitely going to pray for your healing, and
Thank you.
and let this be known, everybody. There is nothing wrong with, and I just want to put this plug in. There's nothing wrong with going to see somebody for your mental health. You go to the doctor because your arm
Yes.
hurt. So if you go to the doctor because your arm hurt, that's fine. You go to the car repair shop because you got a flat tire. You go to the grocery store because you ain't got no milk. Why the hell wouldn't you not go to a therapist if you're not right here? Because if you're not right
Yes.
here, you're never gonna be right with anything. It's like a car with 4 flat tires and you only fix 3 of them. You still not gonna be able to drive it. So you gotta fix your whole self. You can't just be like, I'm too tough for mental health. Everybody needs it. Everybody. The therapists
Yes.
need help. They need to talk to
Yes.
somebody.
Yes.
It's just not that something doesn't have to be wrong, people. You can just need somebody to talk because you just need to talk. For me, well, it was for me before I, started cutting my own joint, it was the barbershop. Like the barbershop is the most
Yes.
therapeutic for a black man. It's the most therapeutic thing in the world. You got to talk. You got CDs you can buy. You got
Yep.
you got movies you can buy. Some of them a little weed, but I don't do that. But I just seen it. You know what I'm saying? But it's therapeutic. So if ladies, men too, if you are going through some trauma and it's bothering you that bad, stop thinking that you can do it on your own because you can't. You just can't. You need family and friends. You need all types of help. You just can't have just one person doing it. And and I'll give you a quick example. When I don't watch racing, speed racing, but on TV, they ride around that circle, then they stop for the pit stop. And it's just not one person changing the tire. You got 4 people changing, one person changing each tire, another person doing this. And it's just like, it's a whole process. And that's the same thing for your healing, ladies. If you, I know there's some people watching. If you've gotten over, you've gotten out of your relationship and you need help, you just realize you might not be able to do it by yourself. So I'm just saying that because I just felt somebody needed to know. Um, I think Raven made a comment. I mean, Ray made a comment and she said it wasn't healthy, even having friend condoning that. Because I remember China, you said your friends was like, "Oh, mine do that too." So so big shout out to Ray for dropping that comment. But ladies, I honestly, like, this is real. Like, I give y'all so much props for coming on here and doing that. We not finished yet, but I ain't trying to wait to the end. I got a few more questions, but I just think y'all need to be applauded, and I think and you need to be applauded every 15 minutes for me, because it's
Yo,
not easy. Like, it's not easy, y'all. You three are just the strongest, strong black women, man. And if nobody ever tells you that, if they don't tell you, rather, I'll tell you for them and for myself. You know, we appreciate you. You know,
Thank
we
you.
really do. A black man is
thank
nothing without a
you.
black woman. So the trauma, if y'all experiencing any trauma, you know, I mean, you could hit me up. Like I'll point you in the right direction. I do mental health for as my job, my full-time job. So, I'm a big advocate for that. But ladies, I'm gonna just get on because I know we're about to wrap it up in a little while. What came? I guess I know what came first. Well, maybe not. Did the verbal abuse come before the physical abuse?
For me, no.
No. Okay.
He
Yeah,
wasn't
I
big
feel
on
like for me,
talking.
emotional.
Wow.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Candace.
Oh no, it's
Wow.
okay. Yeah, it was
But
more emotional too.
emotional. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Now I know one of you mentioned that. Got in a comment. I want y'all to see this one. It says, "I am so proud of all of you ladies for choosing to live." Amen to that.
Aw.
Amen to that.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you
you.
for the comment.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the comment. That's real right there, man. Like y'all need to be applauded for real. Let me find an applause over here because I got the the crowd. Got the love. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Gotta applaud my black women. Yep. Oh, so we talked about just about all aspects of the abuse, but there's one question that I think definitely needs to be asked. And how can I put this? I'm trying to think. I always not lose my train of thought, but just a way to ask it. Do you think when you first started dating your abuser, do you think you were vulnerable at the time? Like, because when you're vulnerable, and I say this because when you're vulnerable, some things you let people slide with when you normal, when you like in the right state of mind. No, yep, for real. Like you'll call people on it, but if you're vulnerable, sometimes you just like you let it slide, or you just don't realize that's happening. Any of you ladies ever experienced that?
Well, for me, I wasn't vulnerable because I was like fresh out of high school, like maybe a year out of high school, and I thought I was hot stuff. So I wasn't vulnerable.
Yeah.
I just loved bad boys. That was my first time ever dating a bad boy. I thought it was so cute. I thought it was sexy. Like, you think of all these things. I was just so young. So no, I was not vulnerable at all. I just thought it was just so cute to date a bad boy. Even the first time that he hit me, even though I was shocked, but I was just like, I mean, well, he's a bad boy, so that's just kind of what comes with it. And I let that slide. I just kept letting it slide.
Right.
Until, one time he punched me. Like, he straight punched me. And while I was fading to black, I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, this bad boy stuff is not cute no more. So, no, I wasn't vulnerable. I just was into the bad boy thing.
Right. What about you, China?
Me, I definitely was vulnerable because a few years back, no. Like I wouldn't let anybody I'm dating talk to me any type of way. I was more like vocal. And yeah, I loved myself. My self-esteem was high. But then right around the time that my grandmother passed away, that's when um I became more vulnerable. She passed away my freshman year of high school. And all that time, literally, I was depressed for all that time. Like things got really dark, and I definitely was vulnerable. And he knew exactly what to say. He knew when to say it. Um, and yeah, and then when he started, like y'all said, he started to abuse me emotionally. Then it became verbal, and then the physical aspect came in last. But my self esteem was so low, and then he came and just dragged it down even more. So I definitely was vulnerable with me.
Yeah, what about you, Raven?
I'm gonna have to say I agree with Candace. I definitely thought I was, you know what? I'm 29. I think this happened when I was 27, and I had moved into an apartment with my roommate. We had a little pool in the back. My jobs was popping. Like everything was going so perfect, so smooth sailing. I was super independent. And I guess I just felt like he was sent into my life to where, yes, I definitely like the bad boys. But I thought that because he was so like, oh, I just love you. I'm obsessed with you. I'm going to marry you. I'm like, oh, he's obsessed with me. Yeah. And it was not in a good, cute, flattering, loving way.
Right.
I felt like he was coming to kind of to put out my flame, to tame me a little bit, kind of like you know when you young, you feeling yourself and you successful, and then sometimes, especially because I'm from the Midwest, a small town, a lot of gossip here, so they'd be like, oh, she thinks she all that, she thinks she this, she think, well, yeah, because somebody says that because you are, and you should own that. But
Right.
instead, I was looking at it like it's a bad thing, like, oh no, you right, I am getting a little beside myself, I'm a little cocky, I need to be put in my place. And so I felt like he was coming in very humble and very real, and I don't know how I thought that, and that
Wow.
obviously was not the case.
Yeah, and one of the things that, like, when you mentioned the obsession of being obsessed, that can easily be mistaken as, oh, that's so sweet. He care about you. He came to
Mm-hmm.
you out with your friends, and he comes there and make sure you get in the car okay. Nah, dog. Like, nah. Like,
Nah, nah,
you got
and
that
that
off.
really did
You know what I'm
happen.
saying? So
Yes.
it
So
can
yeah,
it
yeah,
easily gets mistaken. Oh, that's so cute. After the fifth time, he's showing up at where you going out at with your girls. So yeah, it's cute the first time. You go into the bathroom.
yep.
Now he's there, handing you toilet tissue as you come in the door. Like, it
Literally,
ain't cute no
literally
more.
though.
It's not cute no
That
more. You know
show
what I'm saying?
you, y'all know that show you on Netflix. Like I feel like I could watch something like that now. I'm okay now. But right when that was happening was when I was in my situation, and it was very triggering because
Right.
people was like, "Oh, I wanted Joe. I want my boyfriend to follow me around." You know, you don't.
Right. Right.
You
You
no, you
don't,
don't
right?
want
No,
that.
you don't.
Mm-mm.
So let me ask you this, ladies. I was I when we logged on, well, when y'all logged on, Raven was the first one to call in to the show, so I can put her on. And I was talking to her about how I have a backup of the backup, like with my stuff, like just in case if something goes wrong during the show, I have a backup of, just to make sure, I can be ready. And I was always, at first I'm like always worried about something's going to happen. Like, because the last time something happened and I was just like, oh God, now I'm thinking about that every time I go live and stuff, I'm over it now. But let's put that in a relationship. Did you have, being at the relationship you had, the negative relationship you had where you were abused, were you worried about the next relationship? And did you have a hard time trusting your significant other in your next relationship?
Honestly, I'm in my dating phase, and because I don't plan to stay here, I definitely plan to like move back to LA again. But because I'm not taking like a relationship seriously, but I tell you what, I'll be cutting them off like, and I try not to get it mixed, like get vanity mixed with somebody's true persona and their true character traits.
Right.
I really try to decipher those two things. Is so I guess in my case, like when it comes to like dating and just relationships, I really know what to look out for, and I know I spot it. It's like I sense it from a mile away what
Wow.
they're gonna give me, and even the smallest bit of inconsistencies don't mean that you're necessarily going to be abusive, but it's like you're wasting my time, and that's important to me. You're not you're neglectful of my feelings and the way I might feel about something. That's very important, and I cherish those kind of things a lot more than I did before. Instead of
Right.
thinking my needs
Yeah.
was me being very selfish and me, again, this me being on a pedestal, me thinking that I have all these um, things I'm looking for in a person, and confusing it with vanity, and also being told like, oh, you need to lower your standards, don't set your expectations so high. Well, now I know
Mm,
it's perfectly okay to do those things, and you should do those things.
absolutely. Candace, did you have any trouble, trusting your significant other?
Um, yes and no. I just think I just have a trust issues with just men in general, just aside from the abuse.
Okay.
Um, but that's just natural because I'm a little bit older, so I've been through a lot with guys. But when I got out of my abusive situation, I didn't really take that with me into my
Okay.
next. I tried not to.
Right. Right.
And like Ray said earlier, like it would be triggers that a current, like if I'm in a current relationship, it would be triggers, but that wouldn't take over the relationship. So
Gotcha.
no, I didn't bring that into my other relationships.
Okay. All right. What about you, China? Well, I think she froze. Hold up. I got a comment here. Let's read this comment. It says, "Hey, what is the cause of domestic abuse and narcissism?" Good question. I don't
Usually
know.
childhood,
Mm-hmm.
childhood. Some happened to them as a kid. They were probably losers in high school or school in general, unpopular, wanted to be a part of a crowd for whatever reason that didn't want them in. Now they feel like they're being neglected. Maybe they didn't receive certain attention and things from their, parents or siblings or caretakers, what have you.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I agree. I totally agree. And it's crazy because abuse and narcissism, they're like, they go like so hand in hand. They're
mm-hmm.
like the best friends of each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. How'd you
See
ladies
that?
how was you ladies feeling when you told your family? Was it a hard thing to do?
No,
No?
not for me. Cause they knew. They knew without me even saying anything because of the isolation, me not really me letting myself go, me losing weight, making excuses for him. They knew. I
Right.
just confirmed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And I would think so, but has this experience made you stronger?
Oh, definitely,
Absolutely.
Welcome
definitely. Like
back.
I feel like I'm a powerhouse now. You can't
Right.
you can't tell me nothing. Like
Right.
I
Right.
feel like I understand what self-love really means. And I thought I had an idea of it, but it's like, no, girl, it's past the 30-inch bundles, it's past you knowing how to do makeup, it's past you being the life of the party, it's past all that. It's like I really understand and value myself for who Raven really is. And I don't need nobody to co-sign on that, whether it's a man, a woman, it doesn't matter. I feel like I'm just very stern and comfortable in my own skin. And I realize that if everybody that I know dropped off the face of the earth and neglected me, like I feel like I'd be straight because I'm
Wow.
really just
Mhm.
comfortable standing on my own at this point.
That's good.
And two, like it taught me not to rely on people, you know,
Right.
be
Right.
independent, do your own thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Wow.
agree. I think like with that experience, with my experience, what I walked away from is like I can't trust people with my happiness. Like that got to come from me. And I
Mm-hmm.
cannot rely on a man to make me happy or being in a relationship to make me happy. So it's definitely made me stronger. It's okay to be by yourself. It's okay, if you are in a domestic violence situation. It's completely okay to be by yourself and start over.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Ladies, we're gonna wrap it up. And I appreciate you coming on. I want to give all of you the last word. So I'm going to start with you, China. Whatever you want to say, it doesn't matter what it is. Whatever you want to say. If you want to address somebody who's probably looking at this, that's going through it, whatever you want to talk about, I'm just give you the last word. Go ahead.
Okay. So anyone watching this, if you are in a domestic situation, I just want you to know that, like Raven said, it's okay to love yourself. And I feel like before you date, you should work on loving yourself, because then you'll be able to avoid and prevent certain situations. When you see red flags, do not ignore them. And yeah, just always love yourself, always put yourself first. A woman's intuition is never wrong. If you feel like someone is not for you, 10 times out of 10 it's because they are not. And don't allow anyone to talk to you the way you wouldn't want anyone to talk to your mother. Don't let a man talk to you the way you wouldn't want, someone that's dating your mom to talk to her, or someone, if you had a daughter, or if you do have a daughter, if you don't want her dating someone that talks to her a certain way or treats her a certain way, be that leading example. um and yeah, just
Mhm.
continue to love yourself.
All right. And China, what do you have? How can they find you? How can they contact you? I know you got a YouTube page. Can you just tell us about that?
So you guys can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Find China MUA. I'm also a lash tech and a tooth gem specialist. I have my own lash suites in Short Hills, New Jersey. You can follow my business page and says beauty bar, and yeah.
China, you in Short Hills, New Jersey, you making that money because they ain't. I'll tell you, they got that money. Yeah, okay, ma. All right. I know that's right. I catch that.
Period.
What bus went up there? Was it the 70? New Jersey Trans? I used to catch it.
So.
Yeah, it's the 70. Short Hills Mall. That's what it was. Absolutely. Cat dog. Keep making that money, China. Yeah, just go ahead. Last word.
Well, my last words for anybody that's in a domestic violence situation, if you are afraid to leave, at least tell somebody. I would say to tell one person that you trust. And I thought it was effective to keep a journal of every incident that ever happened, the time, the day, and the details of what happened, just in case if something does happen, because it's really hard to prove a domestic violence situation to the courts. So if you keep a journal, if you tell at least one person, or even rigging up like a hidden camera somewhere or whatever, I feel like that'll be very effective. Once again, it's okay to be by yourself. It's okay to leave. It's okay to be alone. And like China said, like before you start dating, try to, love yourself first. So yeah.
Right. And where can we find you at, Candace?
Well, I have a YouTube channel as well. It is _Candace Rose. And you can also follow me on Instagram. Same thing, _Candace Rose.
All right. Okay, Raven, you the last one. Last word, Raven.
All right. So I'm just to be real, I'm probably way more open than what I should be out here on these internet streets, but I am truly an open book, and I like to document things. I share my domestic violence like a story time, like a get ready with me style video, and that video, I did not expect for it to blow up the way that it did, but that video got me to be able to like monetize on my YouTube that I've been working for like 4 years now. So with that being said, I invite people to check out the channel, look at the comments, look at what I'm currently doing. I feel like sometimes with people, they just need a visual. You need to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Even if it's not your own, you need to see what somebody else is doing now. You know what I'm saying? I went through a similar situation. So I feel like you can definitely see my growth. If you look at the comments, I feel like it's always like, well, if I leave, what are people going to say? If I tell somebody, what are people going to say? See what they say to me.
Yeah.
See what they say, because they talk all kinds of crazy, but it's way more support than there is negativity. So I just want somebody to see that you might get some ridicule, but at the end of the day, you got to do what's going to be the best for you. And if you need a visual, you need a friend along the journey with you, I'm here. I got you.
That's what's up. Can you give your website one more time?
Yes. My website is mariekirkla.com. That's my middle name, my last name, Los Angeles. Marie Kirk LA. Instagram is Raven X Marie. Same name on YouTube without the X, Raven Marie.
All right. There's one more comment that came through, and I don't usually do the comments on the final word, but I think this one's important. And this one's from Ray again. And it says, y'all are strong. Continue to love yourself unconditionally. Stay positive and don't let anyone dictate how long your healing process takes or your worth. Amen to that. Ray, thank you so much. Norman, thank you for Ray, thank you for your support, and please subscribe. Thank you for your positive comments. Norman, thank you for your positive comments. Everybody who's made a comment, thank you for your support, and we really appreciate it. Ladies, when I go out, I want you to stay on. I'm just going to hit this intro and be out of here. So again, everybody join me next week, next Wednesday at 7:30. Don't know the topic yet. I totally forgot, but it's going to be something good. So thank you, ladies, for joining and sharing your stories. And we are out of here. Stay on, ladies. We out. All right.
Thank you for watching the Speak Now Hold Your Peace live broadcast. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and join us on the Speak Now Hold Your Peace Facebook group.